the thing and mute and unmute yourself.
Mute and unmute, and then?
Hi, everyone. My name is Anina, and I'm the CEO and founder of the 360 Fashion Network. I'm delighted to introduce our next panel, which we will be talking about the future of manufacturing. So we had a few technical difficulties, but we're on top of it. So I'm just going to bring here our speakers onto the stage. First, we have Tori Rose. Tori, great to meet you. Great to have you here. Thank you so much. Tori Rose is the founder of FemUSA. She is a manufacturing factory owner. And then we have Dana Todd. Dana Todd, welcome, Dana. And Dana, we have you talking about Belladonna. So I noticed that we are here also with our third guest, Vincent. Great to see you, Vincent. Thank you so much for being here. All right, Vincent. Vincent is based in China, and he is part of the largest group of working with factories for sustainability. So we have a few technical problems, but hopefully we can jimmy this conversation up and still make it happen. So welcome, everyone, and thank you so much for being here for the future of manufacturing. And I would like to open the conversation a bit up first by having you introduce yourself. So please, Tori, why don't you tell us a little bit about FemUSA?
Certainly. Thank you so much, Anina, for having us here tonight. We are an apparel manufacturer, been in business for 29 years. A couple of things that are kind of unique about us is one, when we work with our designers, our minimum order quantity starts at 50 pieces per style. So that's a little different for us. We also have our own brand that actually is part of sports attire, sports uniforms, things of that nature. We have a lot of different types of equipment in our facility. As many of you may know, manufacturing in the USA, especially for apparel, is not oftentimes the most cost-effective way of doing things. However, we have many of our processes that are automated, which gives us somewhat of a competitive advantage because we can cut our time down through some of these automated processes that we have instilled here. So that's just a very short snippet of what we do here. So thank you so much again, Anina, for allowing us to be part of the summit.
Thank you so much, Tori. I'd like to welcome Dana Todd to the stage. Dana, please tell us about Balladonna.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming. My company, Balladonna, is a unique concept. It's a marketplace where every single item is made on demand, made to measure. So we do not have any inventory, and we're a marketplace model. We work with makers around the world who create every item from scratch. So it's a much more sustainable way of approaching manufacturing, we believe. And it also has the added bonus of giving every woman her own personal supply chain because she can have direct relationships with those makers. So our vision is to really rethink how manufacturing and on-demand manufacturing is done, both in terms of re-embracing some old school things and definitely embracing some new school technology to facilitate these, especially when it comes to the digital body measurement and being able to create that end-to-end process for a perfect fit.
Thank you so much. Welcome, Dana Todd. And I'll be right back with Vincent. So, hi, Vincent. How are you today?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Can you hear? Okay, great. So hi everyone. My name is Vincent, and I'm the director and co-founder of Changkong Garments and Remake Hub. So what we do is we do manufacturing out here in China for high-end contemporary brands. In Europe, we also do is turning plastics and textile waste into some new products for local brands and customers. Thanks.
Thank you, Vincent. Great to have you here. And now let's welcome everyone to the stage. So one of the things that intrigued me about when we started talking about this panel is that, Tori, you're investing in robotics. And Dana, you are investing in, real-time manufacturing. And then Vincent is working together with large-scale factories. So I really wanted to talk with you both about what you think the future of manufacturing is. Why don't you go first, Tori?
Certainly. I think that especially in the United States, if we want to see any significant apparel manufacturing come back, we have to invest in technology. Our workforce is not such that it was years ago. And while there are people who are interested in being trained, they want to learn the industry, most people are not. And so the way to combat that is, or to help enhance it, is for us to invest in modern technology, so that instead of folks just sitting behind a sewing machine producing same garments day in and day out, is to have some more robotic, even if it's just particular processes in certain garments. It's a great way to begin to teach people that are interested in coming into our industry, especially young people, when they realize that, wow, I get to run, a piece of equipment that's $100,000 versus, okay, I'm going to sit behind or stand behind a table all day long and cut out garments one at the time. There's a big difference there. So, these are ways that we can see our industry really start to come back, and to the hope is that the owners, the manufacturers will see the need to invest in such type equipment for their companies so that they will continue to stay viable in the industry. So that's my thinking on some of this. There's so many technologies that are coming out now on the robotic side that where I eventually see that we could see a whole particular robotic line create a garment from start to finish rather than just components of it like what we have right now.
Fantastic. Dana, can you explain your vision of the future of manufacturing?
Absolutely. And I completely agree with Tori on a number of points. Where I'll say my vision is that we will have some like reshoring in the United States, but I don't think it's going to look like what we think it looks like. And to Tori's point, it can't look like a sweatshop, right? That's just not going to bring people into the workforce in any country, frankly. It's not just American workers, but even in particularly in Asia, as a company's median income rises, they're not necessarily drawn to the kinds of jobs that are repetitive, that are a little bit boring maybe. But people go into fashion because they love fashion. So I think there's a way to enable both the love of the fashion side and the automation. So in terms of what I think it looks like from a labor force, I do think it actually would be a combination of global and local. So I'm not particularly nationalistic. I'd love to have a lot more of it being manufactured in the United States. And I do feel strongly that some changes are being made. We just heard an announcement this week that there's going to be 2% of GDP invested in science. I have to assume that a fair portion of that will have to do with robotic investments in manufacturing and improvements in fabric sciences as well. So I do think there's a ton of new capital that needs to come in to beef up both the hardware and the software. So we're seeing really interesting growth in the software just over the last few years. So we went from, sort of having these giant systems, the LPL systems, and those are like hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they're typically out of reach of your average designer. You've got these really clunky prototyping, so it has to be like 7 different people have to touch it, and it costs over $1,000 just to make a prototype of one blouse. So 3D technology can compress that down to hours, right, instead of weeks and thousands of dollars. You've got the ability now to do body scan and then transform that into different SKUs. So you could have an unlimited number of SKUs, so you don't have to be stuck with just the inventory that you can produce or that you can store. All of these places of compression and technology enabling will bring us into, frankly, a very overdue 21st century of garment manufacturing. I think we are long overdue. Where I do see the United States needs to recapture is the technology side of it, because we have offshored, all of our needs and all the production. The best technology is not being built in the United States right now. It's being built in other countries. And I think there's going to be a bit of a land grab here, because you've got the EU has put down, they had Vision 2020. I don't know, obviously that came and went, but they had a whole huge initiative around the factories of the future. So this is going to become a really interesting race, I think, to who gets to own and evolve this potentially $6 trillion industry of fashion.
Thank you so much for sharing with us. So I would love to open it up. And I remember also you talked about 5G playing a role in that. Tori and Dana, how do you see 5G affecting machinery or the factory, workflows, etc.? How about you first, Dana?
Well, 5G is the way that IoT talks, right? So if you think about all these smart machines there, your sewing machines are talking to your cutters, or you're talking to the management software, which is talking to inventory, which is talking to the e-commerce. So all of these things are ultimately connected by the internet. And 5G is an incredibly powerful technology that works really well in these short distances. So if you think about the networked microfactories, or even the networked massive factories, 5G enables all of that connectivity to have just this beautiful flow through and hopefully real-time improvement of processes along the way. But I know that you're way more hands-on with this than I am, Tori, so I'd love to hear who's pitching you. Is it AT&T? Is it Verizon? Who wants to own this? I feel like all of the big providers want to own this space right now.
Well, they do, Dana. And we're being pitched by a lot of those internet companies right now. Interestingly enough, these are some things that we're actually implementing for a while, just a step at a time, because we do work off an automated platform for all of our pattern making, our pattern creation, 3D imaging. We're working with avatars. We have automated cutting, and so they have to talk to one another constantly. Our art department is talking to our printing department because we're printing our own fabrics and things of that nature. So, and all of this is done through an automated system via the internet. Unlike today, we normally have a very smooth flowing operation, but for some reason today we've had all kinds of internet issues. And so, it's been a challenge, but it's been very interesting. But something else that we've done over the last short time is we've actually gone paperless. So all of our data, all of our ordering system is all now online. Our people have getting either they already have their iPads, or they're in the process of getting their iPads so that they can see, what orders are coming. Tech packs are in there. They can literally click on that and say, okay, this is the way this garment's supposed to be constructed. And so, we really see this as the wave of the way things have to go. Interestingly enough, when we set up this particular factory, we've been here now for 6 years. We have 0 walls except for our exterior walls, which has given us the ability to truly transform some of these things. And we even have no offices. So everything is totally open, which has completely helped us to go this route. But it's been exciting. It's been a lot of hard work, but it's also rewarding. Our people have gotten on board with this, and they're very excited about the wave in the future of what we're doing and how we're going to do it, and how we're becoming on a regular basis more and more and more efficient. I'm not the huge driver. Let's do more. Let's do more. Let's do more. But our people, because of the tools that we've given them, are able to do more and want to do it.
Wonderful. I'm going to try to bring Vincent on, and hopefully that he can join our conversation. So, Vincent, how do you see the future of manufacturing?
Okay, can you all hear me? Okay, great, thanks. So we're here in Asia, so the situation and things are a bit different than in the West and so on. What we see here in the future of manufacturing is automation and digitization. As if we look at in China, the situation here is that we have it's harder and harder to find workers at all kinds of factories, not just in the garment factories, but also in textile mills, auto industries, and etc. So automation and digitization is the main theme for our manufacturing basis here. Companies like the manufacturers, I guess, we try to have one person manage more stations than before. No, so back in the days, it's one person manage one sewing machine, one station. So now we're trying to have that operator to operate more than just one machines, operate 2 or 3 machines at the same time, and some factories also experimenting with robotic arms to transport these fabrics from one station to the other. So I think we are finally getting to a point where robotic arms can really pick up a piece of fabric and then lay it on top of a sewing machine desk in a efficient and quality manner. The digitization part means that because in China the e-commerce is a very, very strong and has a very high percentage in terms of the retail. So brands now and companies now trying to link up the whole system from all the way from the top where it's the manufacturing side data all the way to the retail side, the CRM, so that it will give the brands the control of quicker menu, quicker reorders, a quicker inventory replenishing, and so on. So free up more cash from the from not having too much inventory, because inventory is a bit of an issue for many of the Chinese brands. So they all want to move it into a quicker turnaround and less inventory manner. So that's so the digitization of the manufacturing and all the way to the CRM and the sales part is very important. And we're already seeing there are companies are working on and trying to connect that. Not just garment factories, but also at the digitization of the textile mills are happening also. So far, it's just the bigger ones, the mills, and the dyeing houses. They will have ERP system and with IoT that will tell them what's happening in the dyeing tub and so on. And then the next phase is just to how to connect all this together. But so far, we have not seen much on the trimming side, but more on the fabrics and the garment side. So yeah, so just overall is that automation and digitalization of the manufacturing is the main theme here. Thanks.
Sorry, how do you see 5G affecting manufacturing?
Can you repeat that again? Sorry.
How do you see 5G affecting manufacturing?
5G I see is 5G definitely is it's starting here, and then I think what is there'll be more and more IoT applications. I cannot see any. I don't see any major ones yet, but I think it's still on trial. So soon we'll see them.
All right. So, Dana, you are in the field of working with real-time manufacturing. So how do you think it goes when we get into this kind of workflow? How is that at all possible to create such a real-time, I get the order and then the item is made? What is required on the manufacturing side to make that vision, that dream happen? What kind of machinery, etc.?
You can very easily just do it with an old-fashioned paper pattern and a human. But when you're trying to scale up and create hundreds or thousands of garments, then it does get a little bit trickier. So we work with merchants of all sizes, everything from a small atelier where honestly they're more of an artisan approach, where they don't want to have to be the kind of company that's churning out thousands of designs And honestly, there is a market for that, and there always will be, because they're going to be appealing to a certain consumer who wants one of a kind, right? And they don't want to be one of thousands and thousands. But on the flip side of things, frankly, my business needs to scale. So as a marketplace, I want to be able to provide more and more support. So a few of the folks that we worked with have invested in technology and have invested in factories. And one of our providers they're based in Europe, but their actual factory is in Shanghai, and they're churning out 100,000 suits a year, or more probably at this point. That's just the ladies stuff, so the men's are much more than that. But so that you can achieve scale and you can do custom and on demand, but right now it's still kind of limited in terms of the number of styles that you can approach. So it's tricky for women. So I'm going after the female consumer. I guess it's a lot easier for men. So you look at some of the competitors that I would have in the men's space. That's your Bonobos, that's your Indochino, that's your M. Taylor. They're working off a very finite set of patterns. But the female consumer, who is frankly the largest buyer of clothes on the planet, is also the most demanding. And they're the ones who want to have a huge variety. And this is frankly where we're very excited about the 3D modeling and 3D design and 3D fit, sort of the virtual dressing room. This technology has come so far, so fast. Just in the last couple of years, we've seen it really start to look a lot more believable than it did even a few years ago. And you're now seeing consumers talking about it and embracing the idea of it. We did some research in 2020 to find out how consumers felt, both men and women, about getting body scanned, about doing virtual try-ons, and the overwhelming majority of them said that they were comfortable and or interested in trying it out. So we do know that there is, frankly, so we've all given up our privacy for less, frankly, to play a game. It's I think as long as the security is in place and the care for your data, the consumers are absolutely willing to give more data in exchange for a better fit and a more sustainable garment. So I think the demand is there. We have to unlock that demand, and it's a tricky little machine that we're trying to build here, where we're moving from small lots to bigger on demand. And that's why we have to have a lot of capital investment, a lot of technology improvements. And I do think we do need to invest a lot more in smart machines and develop some newer types of machines. So I'm really impressed with, for example, Shimaseki is a Japanese company, and they have a knitting machine, and they can literally knit you a whole garment, in an hour. So from scan to done, and that's amazing. That's what we really want to be able to do, is have, if you envision it like a Dr. Seussian thing where it's just sort of spitting out finished garments, that's doable right now. So it's just a matter of time before we can have, lots and lots of these going, and have consumers be part of the process. Because I feel like consumers have been left out of the conversation entirely. We're just sort of sitting on it, like waiting for the styles to drop, but we don't have any participation in that process. So what we're seeing now is that trend towards participating in the process, frankly, driven by Instagram. So hope that answers your question.
I would love to ask Vincent, how is real-time manufacturing, if at all, happening in China? You just mentioned that it is happening in China, so perhaps you could give us some insight into that, Vincent.
Okay, yeah, real-time manufacturing. So what the brands are doing, online and offline brands are doing, they are having their manufacturing location close to where they are, where the warehouse and so on, so that they can cut down the logistics time. And I would say it depends on what products. If it's shirts, suitings, and those make-to-measures, they can definitely do real-time. People place an order, they will produce in the production line with tailor-made and make as you go. For the other items, more ready-to-wear fashion items, what do people do right now is that they would place a small initial order of, saying, like 200-300 pieces per style, And as soon as they see a good pickup from the sales, they will quickly do a follow-up order. And usually the follow-up order is they will need the manufacturer to deliver in 10 to 14 days. So how do they do it? It's basically have the fabrics and some of the trim stocked up so that they can use across a few different styles. So I would say that's how we are doing it right now here in China to cut down the lead time and making the inventory less.
Fantastic. I would love to hear from Tori how she sees she's going to start dealing with this real-time manufacturing expectation.
Well, for us, interestingly enough, probably about 3 years ago, our lead time was 8 weeks. We've already cut that down to 3-week lead time. And we see that oftentimes we can take a rush order for our clients. No, we can't take every order as a rush order, but as little as a 5-day turnaround time and 5 business day turnaround time. And that is a direct link to some of the automated processes that we have here that has helped us to reduce our production time. Also, having styles and some of our patterns already worked, our tech packs in place, making sure that sampling is accurate has greatly helped to diminish that production time. So those are some of the things that we've been able to do. And for some of our couture brands that are, especially our young designers, they're thrilled when they realize, wow, I can get something made for my brand in as little as 3 weeks, knowing that, this is a fast turnaround time for them and to have those low minimums.
Thank you so much. I would love to open the floor up to all three of you as experts in your own fields and see what it is that you have to say together. How about you first, Dana?
Well, so questions that I want to know from everybody on the panel. So and it's been talked about during this Digital Fashion Online Summit as well. So sustainability is sort of a big buzzword out there, and it doesn't mean that much well, it means everything to some people and nothing to other people. One of the things that I'm a little frustrated about is when I look at on-demand as being truly the most sustainable way to procure a garment, a new garment anyway. I'm really surprised that the industry is not embracing it, not talking about it. They're still just talking about like linen, and they're really just always talking about recycling bottles and turning them into shirts. And that's the end of the process of their thinking in terms of sustainability. And I'm looking at this going, okay, if we can cut returns, right, because it fits better, and we can reduce the overproduction, which ends up in landfills, then this becomes the solution for, or maybe not the solution, but a huge part of the solution for sustainability. So why do you think that there's not more movement toward this direction from the brands and from the makers and from the retailers, frankly?
Well, Dana, I think it's because people are not willing to change. I think that's the first thing. If you think about factory owners that have processes that they know work and they're afraid to rock the boat. They're like, you know what, this has worked for us for 20 years, 30 years, and they're not willing to necessarily invest in technology. They're willing just to keep doing the same old thing. But for us, sustainability is really important. That's one of the reasons why we have those low minimums for our clients. We do not want our clients to, especially young designers who this may be their first or their second collection going out in the marketplace, they have no data to know what is it that their customers are really asking for. So we also strongly recommend to them, while it may cost a little more, do 1 or 2 samples. Put some of those garments out there on social media, on some of your sales platforms. If you need to do pre-sales, or if you need to do take orders for those things, because we do have a shorter turnaround time, do that, because we want to see what is it that your customer is wanting based on your brand recognition, based on your story that you've got to tell. What is it that's driving your brand? So for us, one of them is lower minimums. We think that is very, very important. We work with brands that their price points are, expensive, and that's okay. Their mantra is that they're looking for, they're not looking to sell thousands of pieces. Rather, they're looking to sell maybe a few hundred for every collection that they have, or by the piece. So I think that that's something that's really huge for us, because we do automated cutting here. Another sustainability piece that we have is our raw goods waste is very, very minimal. When you're using automated cutting processes here, you can put those pieces right up against one another as much as possible, and that blade just goes through it one time. So our waste is much less also. So those are some of the things that we're doing to try to help that sustainability side from a manufacturing piece. And our customers see that, and they value that, especially those customers who have come from another factory and they've been involved in the raw inventory side of their manufacturing process. They see the savings that we're giving to them on the raw goods side, which also helps the sustainability piece of this.
Very cool. Thank you for answering that. Vincent, do you have an opinion about sustainability and the applicability of tomorrow's, what are tomorrow's factories going to do about sustainability? You are muted. Oh no, Vincent, we can't. I wish I could unmute you. We can't hear you. Can you unmute?
I think that we can hear him. I mean, we can't hear him, but the stream is okay. So Vincent, go ahead and answer, and then we'll see.
Sorry,
when
guys,
you're
we're having
finished.
a lot of technical difficulties tonight. It's just like one of those bad internet days, I guess. We're still not able
All right. Well, it seems it seems that we have some problems with, in general, the internet. What I'm going to say to everybody who's watching is that we are going to do this talk and record it offline. So then we will post it for you online. Today we had a really incredible technical difficulties. I do apologize for that. At least we were able to jump on and you could hear some of the talk. I do apologize, but I do think we were on the fly for a while there. And we will post this. We will do a pre-recording of this, a re-recording of this amazing talk, and put it where you can see it. Also in the speaker dashboard for anyone who has a front row seat, you will be able to watch the replay. And then for those of you who have the gallery seats, I will post this talk publicly so that you can watch it, as it is a wonderful and very important conversation for us to have. And with that, we're going to wrap it since the sound is not happening, and we will come back to you shortly. And I do apologize for any inconvenience to my guests and also to the audience. And I just want to thank you for your patience. And yeah, thank you so much. And I will send out an email to everyone who signed up for this speech so that you can 100% see this important conversation. And to my guests, thank you so much for your best and most amazing efforts. Your insights are all important, and we'll meet offline to record this because it's so important. So many people signed up for this conversation. I really don't want anyone to miss out because you're all such unique perspectives. Dana, you are real time. Tori, you are a manufacturer in the United States. And then Vincent, you bring so much from an international perspective, and also your work in sustainability is so invaluable because this manufacturing play is a global play. So we just need to solve the problem wherever we are because the planet needs us, So I think everyone's heart is there. And I thank you so much for being here. And I'll follow up in an email. And our guests today, you will also receive an email. And thank you for your patience. See you then. I think we can all wave. Everyone can see a wave. Thank you.